Tim. It is 7:30. We're a little bit late. We always get caught backstage spilling the tea everywhere. Um, it is Knuckle Dragger University, and we are live to talk a little bit about entrepreneurship, finance, wealth, being a man. Cigar. Tim's here, so cigars. We're going to talk some cigars. We do have March Madness coming up. We may
Yeah.
talk a little March Madness. I know, and we got a lot going on in our government. My God, this could be a 5-hour show, Tim. But backstage, just so we could just take off here. Backstage, we were talking a little bit about, what's a good business a man could just walk out of his door and start. Not So I'm in the HVAC business. You can't really just walk out the door. There's some licenses that go with that. I mean, there's some things, but what's kind of a business that doesn't require all that? It just requires a some elbow grease and a will to win, maybe. I don't know. Probably about $5,000 in power, but it's a power washing. We're talking about doing some power washing, but then I'm a blue collar guy, guys. I was a service technician for 30 years and kind of retired from the field and took a service manager position and parlayed that into an operations manager that I do now. Same industry though, commercial HVAC. I mean, this is where I live. Of course, I met Tim a few years ago, but for the past year we've gotten really close, and Tim is not a hour get paid by go get the best dollar you can get by the hour kind of guy. And coming 30 years as being paid by the hour, when I had met Tim, I had just moved into a salary position. Like right then, like pretty close to right then is when I met Tim. So Tim kind of massaged my brain out of the hourly and into the salary. And then for the past year and a half, been trying to massage it out of that. Like, okay, let's stop. So we're backstage. We've been talking about starting little businesses and how easy that is or how hard that is and the risks and the rewards and the time. And we started talking about a business that we've been talking about. And I jump in with, okay, we're going to need 5 employees, and I know this guy, and Tim's like, stop. So that is how I think of things, and I need to rearrange a thought process. And so, Tim, will you kind of take it from there? Where am I messing? It's not messing up, but we're messing up from your experience, which is a ton of entrepreneurship.
So I want to talk about what's hidden in plain view, right? So there's some factual things here, even about our discussion in the specifics of it. And I don't want to get into the specifics of any one business, but I will say um, sometimes experience will cut you off at your feet or your knees because you think you got this figured out because of past experiences. This is going to be easy. Yet the Almighty, whatever you want to call it, might have different plans and a reason why you're doing different things. And it's not as easy as it seems. And the things that seem so difficult actually become very easy. And one of the significant differences, and it's so important to understand, is to have the antenna up and be willing to receive and then act upon it. So, for instance, and the reason why I start with that is probably way out of left field was Chris. Um, we were talking about something about a business enterprise, an opportunity, and then lo and behold, you had a buddy, Eric, who brings up the same business about a week later, and you go,
Yeah, I mean, within 5 days, for sure. 5 days.
so, and you guys hadn't, so
Nope.
that's when I'm talking about having the antenna up. There's something there. And that overrides, that is the business principle. Have your antenna up. Because now let's talk about, I use this word, it says you want things that are asymmetric. And it's a highfalutin term that's really, really simple. You want limited risk, so limited downside, lots of upside, right? That's what you want to invest in. When there's all kinds of opportunity upside, but very little downside. What we're talking about, we could lose a $5,000 initial investment. It could
Yeah.
be a lot of money to some people, and I'm not shrugging that off, but
In the grand scheme of things, it's a $5 bill.
go pay for a couple $1 million loss, and then let's talk, right? Then well, that's got a downside to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Ouch.
So asymmetric is lots of upside, limited downside. And so
Okay.
when you see those opportunities and you hear the intent to receive them, then you want to act upon them. And then I was asking you a question. I said, well, but the entry level is so easy. So that makes
Yeah.
it difficult with competition. So the normal person would say, let's figure out something else. I want to figure out something harder, right? Well, that's kind of what's he thinking about? So the answers are what's hidden in plain view. You just have to think things through a little bit deeper. And I'm not talking about more data. More data is proven it doesn't make better decisions. We think it does, so we do more data, but that's more wasted time in some ways. And I'm not against data, but I just that we think that if we get more data, that we'll get better results, and it's proven time and time again that's not the case. Having that antenna up and receiving and listening, and then thinking about things pays off. For example, so the business that we were talking about, low entry fee, which then could drive me away like, well, then anybody can do it. Where's my competitive advantage? And that's the point. The competitive advantage is that anybody can go put $5,000 in and get started. But the competitive advantage, when I think about it, is how do we get consistent big contracts and outpace anybody else that can come into the market? Because they will. When they see the big dollars, competition starts coming, and it can put you out of business or whatever. But the reality is, it's building customer relationships, having the inside track on opportunities, locking those in place, and then delivering with a system. So when you can broadcast a promise that makes a difference, and you can do it every time on time the way you want it done, that delights a customer, that's an asymmetric, that's the differentiator, that's the competitiveness that you can out compete the competitors, right? You get rolling. You don't There's plenty of fish in the sea, especially um, you have the antenna up and you continually redirect and improve, and you get more opportunity, right?
Yeah.
So that's what that would be my answer, is that when you first, you know what the one ingredient is of all successful entrepreneurs or successful business people? The one common ingredient that is always there for a successful business is someone who didn't quit.
Yeah.
Period.
That's it. Yeah. They've gotten knocked down a few times if they made it.
Right. Right. So uh, anyway, you take it from there.
No. So asymmetrical. Uh, and that was where we had left that conversation and then came live. So that is lots of upside, not much
Not much
bottom.
doubt.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people have lots of ideas. Sometimes they're overly technical and they make it harder than it is. They never deliver, they never ship. They're always engineering, and it's destructive. So when you're doing a startup, one, startups are really challenging as an investor. And most investors that do startups choose not to do startups after a certain period of time, right? That's just the facts. So But individuals that do startups, they never quit. And the important things to remember is the speed in which you can bring a product or service to market is really critical.
Boy, I've heard that a lot.
Yeah. So within, that's where I love this, the 60-day, 6 month program. I wouldn't plan it out any further than 6 months. And then I want to um, have a clear picture of what it looks like in 6 months. And then I want a 60-day plan that what I'm going to do today, every day, for 60 days to get that in place.
All right. So we're looking for asymmetrical entrepreneurship ideas. Always have the antenna up. That was the basis of that story.
Mm-hmm.
And we found one. My antenna was up, and then I started thinking about it more and more and more. And now we just bring it to market, I guess.
Yep.
That's it.
The hard work is the things that nobody else wants to do.
What is that?
Setting down.
The fucking paperwork.
Well, that's just stuff. But really setting down and thinking and then writing out the plan, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's where people want to bypass. So immediately you go, I got a buddy, he can do this, and I got people, they can do that. And that is destruction.
Yeah. No,
Right?
I see it now. When you said that, okay.
And it's nothing against anybody's buddies. In fact, one of the buddies you're talking about is, I consider him a mutual friend, and you've known him for a long time. I think it'd be great. But
But
it,
no, I hate. But the whole premise since I've met you has been systems. So as soon as you said we build out positions, it fucking made sense to me. I was like,
yeah,
oh no, he's fucking right. Now we got 17 people involved in this fucking shit show of a dumpster fire that we're trying to do, and that's really unnecessary in the beginning. So we just build out the systems because that was the whole premise, I think, of us starting to want to the
yeah.
show about
Let's give it
systems, about how this, let's say we build out a power washing company, it should be able to power wash itself pretty soon.
right, and we could sell it. So
Yeah.
let's go back. Let's back up and say, hey, we got
But that's another real quick, Tim. That's
yeah,
another thing. We're not talking about becoming power washers for the next 50 years. We're talking about building a business and then turning it and then doing it again.
yeah, and we could choose whether to keep it or not keep it.
Yeah.
But
Or be a percentage, or keep it by a percentage, or not a by
yeah,
there's
if,
it's yours. So but my intention would not be to be 90 years old up on a real power washing something. That's not what we're talking about.
right. So you hope to be 90 years old up on a skyscraper doing something, right?
I'll be doing a little heat and air work, maybe. That probably never gonna ever leave my soul.
Yeah.
I'll
So
be up there trying to figure out how the fuck AI fixes itself now. How does this motor work?
a thought came to mind, but I'm going to not go there. So, so um, here's the difference. I want to go back to this hire your buddy program, right?
Yes.
Here's the difference between a scalable, saleable business versus a crap show, right? Versus a problem. So one, I don't want to buy a business that means I'm buying a job that I got to go to work. Yeah.
That's not the point.
And that's the hire your buddy program. Because here's
Okay.
what I can't replace. So let's say our buddy's name is Sheila. And Sheila would be great, we're saying, right? And so we hire Sheila because she's our buddy. And she goes to work, but then we write the job description, and the job description is what Sheila does, and Sheila does a little accounting, and she does a little bit of wrench turning, and so it's well. Then Sheila leaves, and then we got to go replace Sheila. And so what are we looking for? An accountant, Rich Turner? Well, they're kind of a hard to
That's too
find,
bad.
right?
Accountant Rich Turner.
And then I just sell Chris. I sell you my business, and I got all my buddies in it, and each of them do 5 part-time jobs, and then but I sold this business to you, and you're going, your buddies left. Now what do I do? I just bought a job. Now, asymmetric, we say, let's leave all of our friends, acquaintances, and possibilities completely out of it for until we draw up and define the business. And we start with, okay, what are the objectives of the business? And the objectives would be like revenue, market share. What are the distinctions that we're about? There may be 3 to 8 of these things, no more than 8. Then we say, okay, what roles, what in essence positions or roles that are, they come to us through activity that needs to be done to accomplish these objectives. And then you define those roles, and then you broadcast for how to fulfill those roles to do this activity with a checklist and a reasoning why we do what we do, and a system that is continually improving the process. Now that is an effective, efficient business that you might want to buy, because it's not a job, it's a money maker. We need, and so I give the analogy is if we got a drain in the middle of the garage floor, and I throw out randomly, we drop it in after we have this huge shaker, and it's got every engine part for a diesel Cummins, right? A big diesel engine. It's got every engine part in this shaker, and we shake it good. No parts are connected. We shake it good, and we drop it right on top of that drain. Then we go get a 50-gallon drum of diesel, and we pour it over those parts. And the diesel represents money, capital. And we have an engine, and that engine's designed to make money. So multiply the capital. And we take that capital, we pour it over the engine, and we watch the capital go down the drain. That's the hiring your buddy, we got an idea program, right?
Yep.
So the hard work is the discipline of saying, let's build the engine and make the funnel to the fuel tank big enough, and let's make this engine so it produces money. It just spits out money. And then let's bring the diesel in, start the engine. You fill the diesel with engine with diesel, and watch it run. None of that diesel goes down the drain. None of it. And it's just a multiplying factor. And now a lot of people want to buy that money-making machine. That's the difference. And I know it's simple, and I'm saying things that, well, duh. I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but it's just a simple process that people skip because they got a brain fart idea. And that's why I say, and I argue with business partners for 30 years of this same concept. They'd be bringing in the latest, greatest idea, want me to evaluate it, and tell me what they think, and then they're just on to the next idea, and tell me what you think, and stop, time out. I don't need great ideas. Hell, we're talking about a power washing business, right? I
Yeah.
don't need great ideas. In fact, I can show you over and over and over wildly profitable, successful, bad ideas, well executed, that made a huge amount of money. Now, ideally, we'd want to take a decent idea and put systems together, build the engine. And I mean, if you want to start off, on an even playing field, I would much rather have a great idea than a terrible idea. But I'm going to tell you, great ideas are a dime a dozen. We could take one show, go into the show, like a show that we're doing right now, an hour-long show, and just say, okay, Chris, Tim, here's your agenda. Think about business ideas. Come up with ideas, 5 good ideas. And if we took 1 hour and just focus discipline on being quiet until we got an idea, and then bounce it off back and forth, we would come up with 5 great ideas in 1 hour's time. And so if I could come up with you and I could come up with 5, and I'm telling you, we'd come up with 25. But if I just underselling, overpromising, no. If that's the truth, then great ideas. If I can produce 5 an hour, and that's 40 a day, and I'm saying that's highly conservative. Probably could do, 10 times that amount. But I could give you 40 great ideas. If we had a customer, they just wanted great ideas. I could give you and I could come up with 40 good ideas a day. And I'm telling you, you know how much those are worth?
I mean, build systems.
Well, if you build systems, it's worth a lot. But if you just
Yeah.
come up with great ideas, it's about $40. So I'll split it with you. We could retire on $20 a day. If we work 5 days.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, run from great ideas. You don't need great ideas. You need well executed ideas. And so ideally you take both, but the real issue is not the great idea.
Right.
The real issue is taking the discipline and building that engine before you pour money on it. And so what bypasses that, this is the secret, is the shortcuts that really hurt you is when, we could get Sheila. She'd be great at this. And without having the engine built, you're just pouring money down the drain.
And I've seen it. Now that you've worded it all that way, we bought 5 or 6 different heat and air companies, and you buy them, they buy them, I go in, evaluate them.
Yeah.
And there's 100% of them were buddies. And they all left. And it is fucking work. Now you're stuck. And you're stuck with a bunch of horrible systems. I don't know what the word I'm looking for. Everybody did it their own way for 20 effing years, and they're the only ones that knew who was talking to what and what process let's just use a service ticket was in at any given moment, because they all worked there for 20 years, and when it got bought, they all stood up and left.
And that's the system. It's called chaos.
It's fucked. But you're right. It does work. But I mean, no, you're right though. They're pouring fucking gas over the diesel, not into the fuel tank, because they're selling it. I mean, none of them were really making money, but all of them were sitting on money. Like their contracts were legit. They just didn't know what to do with them.
There's no reason to be broke.
Yeah, you walk into a shop and there's six guys making money in the field and 30 people of overhead. I mean, what are we doing here? This is ass backwards.
So I just finished. We have to have a moment for a cigar talk, right?
Oh yeah, yep. And you found a new cigar.
But the upgraded news is that I found in really a top-rated cigar. It's not the top, but it's in a class of a pretty good company of Consensus Top 25 this year. Was a Knuckle Dragger. And I thought we might need to get that sponsor for our show. At least I need to get you some rabbit air deals, because you really can't smoke in your basement there. But
I can. I have a ventilation system. You just can't see it. I'm smoking right now. It's going right out. Yeah.
Oh, Well,
I mean, that's what I do, brother.
I, I would send you some good cigars. I'm gonna have to do that. Get an address from you after the show, and I'm gonna send you some. Um, if you'll have a cigar with me on time to time.
Absolutely. Hell yeah. Uh, yeah, when me and Eric were down here doing Patriot Sports Radio, I mean, it was I needed a ventilation system.
Sweet. Yeah, because you don't want to smell up the whole house. And is your ventilation system separate from the rest of the house? Yeah, so the return. That's awesome. Yeah, that's pretty cool. What? That's high dollar, man. No, no,
No, it
no,
ain't.
I know. And I'm telling you, that's another great idea. You know how many
You
cigar
could
buddies I have that have to go outside in the heat or the cold to smoke their
I
cigar?
got I got I got 2 hands, some tin, and an old blower motor out of the last air conditioner I pulled out.
Yeah,
We're good. I'll
yeah,
build it out.
yeah. So
I got a
that's
3 foot I got a 3 foot break and a door. I can bend whatever we need to bend and bang it together. I am a I can work with sheet metal pretty good.
you know
I'm
what?
not good with wood. I'm a horrible with wood, but I can build shit with metal way
That's
better.
good. That's good. Believe it or not, I spent quite a bit of time uh, bending metal. So on some presses, and I even I told you about the factory I ran that was, it was a little cheating because it was computer robots, welding robots, and auto metal building. I could program it in, but I also could do the little sheet metal stuff. I got all the sheet metal tools, and you know, um, I could probably grab and put my hand on that little, the little water heaters that they put in. I mean, I'm not talking about a hot water heater. I'm talking about heaters that use hot water that you put in a pole barn and have a little blower on them. I'm telling you, that's another great idea. How many garages could we convert with heat just off the hot water heater that's in the garage?
Yeah, I mean that's what I do. Just throw a cert pup on it and call it good.
Yeah, I mean, but the problem is, it says, well, that's what all I do is I put a surf pump on it and call it good. Well, I can go down my neighborhood. One, they didn't know I could heat the garage. Two, they don't know what a circulating pump is. Three, they didn't know that their hot water heater is there, right, just all set up to do it. So pop in. Hey, for a 11.95, we could convert your garage to a heating system, and if you wanted to be able to smoke cigars in your garage, I'm gonna get too many G's there. We can we can convert that so it never goes in the house. Your wife is happy. Now you got your own little cigar lounge that's heated, and we could probably do that turnkey for $2,812. Now I sound like a ripoff artist, but I don't mean it that way. But it has that value to a cigar aficionado that has to go outside in the cold to smoke a cigar in the winter. And I can convert every garage that is a cigar smoker that guarantees no cigar smoke in the house. Happy wife. And so if I'm building it's probably 80, you could spend 80 to 100 grand, 80,000 to 100 grand to put in a smoke room, a cigar room, uh, in somebody's house or a man cave that was separate. I'm just
Yeah, I'd be kind of it because if we were doing that, now I'm thinking about it. I'd want to soundproof it, and there's some extra steps to take.
yeah. Well, so I'm just saying, great ideas are a dime a dozen.
But we
We
get
got
like an
three
ECM.
already in our first hour of talking. We got two
I
more to
think an
do.
ECM motor probably on a high low. Oh, it doesn't matter. Yeah, we could do some fun stuff.
Yeah,
I didn't think about that because all my buddies just build it themselves.
right.
I mean, that's
But
kind of who I hang out. That's the lower middle class, maybe.
yeah,
Or
yeah.
just a bunch of knuckle draggers that do it for a living anyways, or they got a buddy that does it, right?
Well, my point is that I mean, you see these.
But there are homes out, out got people that do other things for a living and have nicer homes that would pay somebody to come in and build that.
Absolutely. That's my point is you
Yeah,
look at you
probably
got
a ridiculous amount of money.
a customer base and they're happy as could be, and it provides real value. Okay, so now um, we're going to talk a little bit about cigars.
Yep.
We talked about the cigar room. So I had when I came in, I finished off it was a Billy Chicky stick. I don't know what they cost, $2 or $3, and I have a show that I follow, and one of the guys in there is a whole story, but they designed a cigar around him, and he just wanted an everyday go mow the lawn cigar. And
Go mow the lawn. Is that the same as like a shower beer?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay, all right, fair. So it's like a Miller Lite of cigars.
yeah. So, um, and I just bought them because I was buying some other things from their store, and I said, throw in a bundle of 20, and they're like $20. You know, so, and I would never, and not that I'm too good for that, I would never smoke them, because I'm kind of ruined by smoking fine cigars, and so I so I got a bundle, and I just made a commitment. I'm gonna smoke one of these every day that I'm smoking, right? And I'm just gonna that's gonna be my first cigar, and it was terrible, right? Not that I'm giving bad pub, but it was awesome because it made me appreciate good cigars. And so I'm in my probably fifth, maybe fifth or sixth day of doing this, and I actually now enjoy the cigar. I mean, I'm really enjoying it because I can find I'm searching for some flavor tones and different things in it, and I like the way that it softens up after smoking it a while because they're pretty rudimentary, right? But I'm really appreciate. I look forward to that cigar.
It's your Miller Lite.
Yeah. So here is a cane habanero cigar. It's cane,
Well, this
and
one looks different because it's pointy on the end. Yet
yeah,
the last one was blunt.
it's a torpedo. I got to get in a picture here. Where am I? Oh, there it is.
There you
And
are.
it's actually left of my thing, but this is a cane cigar with. I'm sorry, the torpedo end. Um, I don't know. Anyway, so this is my cigar for tonight's show, and I just had finished up the Billy Chicky stick when I started, and I was delayed a little bit here anyway. So I want to get in front of the camera right there, and I've got the um, that's the V cut. You can see that. And so on these cigars, what you want to do is to cut these. Some people just cut the end off, but they're torpedo, and so um, that's okay. I like to do it at an angle with a V cut, right? It's kind of like that. And so what you're doing is you're just cutting up one end,
Okay.
and that makes a nice draw downward for this cigar. It's more difficult to do it on the camera, but and that's kind of like it the way it
Turn
looks.
it
There we go.
over. Turn it a little bit the other way. Let me
Turn
see
it
the bottom of it.
like
Okay. So it
this.
is kind of just cut. Yep.
Yeah.
But not too much.
No, it's not too bad, but I really wanted more of um, an angle up on one side. That's how you do it with the V cut. And I can do it great every time if I'm just looking at the cigar. But when I'm looking at the camera and trying to, that's the challenge, right? So now we got a couple more ideas of businesses we need to start. We need to start a business a day, my friend.
That way we can start selling them.
Yeah, well, see, that's the key. That's the key, and that's just it's consulting, really. It's taking a need and solving it. And people don't know how big a need they have for a cigar lounge in the garage.
So Tim, tell me this. If you start a business, not I, and I'm sure there's a huge spectrum here. But what we're talking about, these entry level entrepreneurship ideas in the asymmetric. How long are you wanting to before you get your investment back, your time and money, like to sell? Does
If
it
I
all
want,
depend?
if I want to sell the business,
Yeah. Are you looking for like? Are you? Is it 2 year, 5 year? Is it always different? Could it always changing? Or do you go into an idea going, okay, we're going to build this out and sell it in this many time or this many years or whatever?
so I have a mentality
Hmm.
that serves me well that I never want to sell. And I'll tell you why. Is because I run into people that are pitching ideas, and one of their pitches that, and then we can sell this. And what I find the people, and again, there's always exceptions to the rule, but generally, what I find is that they're quitters. I don't want quitters,
Yeah.
and I want people, and I think it's great to sell a business, and I think that there's some benefit in thinking that way as far as creating systems so that somebody else can take it over and run it seamlessly. But I like the mentality of somebody that they own it; it's their baby, and but that doesn't mean I don't sell businesses. It just means that when people are starting a business to sell it,
Like
I,
if that's the purpose.
yeah, and oftentimes it is. I'm just, it's a turnoff to me. It's not a deal killer, but it's a turnoff. It's not a turnoff. It's like, I'll tell you something else. I don't. If you have an MBA, Masters of Business, you just lost 5 notches. I'm going to put 4 people ahead of you to interview and make a decision before I come to you.
I mean, that's fair because they got too many ideas or too many bad habits, probably.
Well, I just find that
Stubborn.
it's a degree that's been so watered down, and it's not to say that people don't they can't be great. I just say um, I would rather what you do is an MBA represents, and again, I make statements, and then you can blow away the statement and categorize me as a knucklehead, and that's okay. But I find often that MBAs, and there's good ones and there's less than good ones, but I can give you some great business schools um, that offer MBAs, and I can give you people that have been super successful. You look at the top golf guy, Tom Dundon, MBA out of SMU, great Cox School of Business, great school, great, and he's multi man, did great, a good golfer, friend of Tony Romo's, the whole deal. Um, I think he owned one of the hockey teams in Carolina or something like that for a while, but he's done well. Dallas guy, done well. So there's always exceptions to the rule. He made his money in, I think, car leases, selling cars or something. I don't know, Santander or something like that. My point is that oftentimes I find that even from great schools, MBAs are people who got educated by professors who theorized about business, and they didn't get taught from entrepreneurs that went on and made a success. And so I say not so much about knocking masters of business or business degrees. I don't. That's not my point to knock business degrees. My point is to encourage people that you don't need it. Right. What you need to do is learn how to make money. And so often, and I've got experience that just kicks me in the butt every day that I just detest. When a technology company, without me telling you too much about the specifics of the company, that it's a change the world company that I'm involved with, and I, it's so frustrating because people continue to try to reinvent the wheel, and they never develop a product and they never develop a service. and then they don't bring it to market forever, forever and ever and ever. And they're all, these great MBA guys or accountants or, it's just when, and I'm talking revenue as opposed to profits. I think it's important to make profit, right? But I'm just like saying, you know what? You start up a company, I want to be making revenue in 60 days. Even if it's a consulting side gig, but something, just because investors love to see revenue happening. Because if revenue is happening, someone's building a system and making it happen. And you can build up on that. But this, going 10 years into a startup company with no revenue, and your business is about raising money. That's what your business is. And it's bullshit. I hate that.
So that's the tech industry. It's way different than the power washing industry.
Well,
Or maybe not.
not, you just like, I'm telling you, and again, without sounding like a shyster or a huckster, you could take everything I say and apply it in the wrong way and it make me look bad. My point is this: if I said, Chris, here's our agenda, here's our objective. We're gonna have, I want to have revenue before we buy any equipment. That's your assignment. Go make it happen. And you got a week. Go. I'm saying we're better off, and that's smart, and you can do it easily. You don't need equipment to make revenue. Go get business, and then we'll go get the equipment, right?
Right.
And so I'm not saying that's the best way to do it. I'm just saying it's, if you do it that way, you're going to be effective. You're not going to be hiring your buddy. You're going to be creating a system business, and here's how we're going to deliver, and here's what we're going to do. And yeah, you can sign the contract and put up the money now and save 45%, or I'm going to come back in 3 weeks with equipment and you can pay me when I'm done, but it's going to cost you this much. I mean, there's always a way. I'm just thinking on the top of my head.
Yep.
It's not that I'm a genius. It's just that, hidden in plain view. Never really thought about that. I could put money in my bank and I don't even have to have any equipment. And I'm not cheating anybody. I'm going to deliver on my promise and make a delighted customer. And I don't care if you're making garage cigar lounges or shoestrings. It makes no difference.
Yep. Anyways, well, entrepreneur talk. How about real quick? Give us your political take on last week.
Specifically, pick up topic.
Doge. How are they doing? They just swamping him in the media. How about let's talk about the strikes on the Houthis. It looks like we're gearing up over there.
Well, that's a big negative. Again, we don't know all the details.
Yep.
But Trump ran on peace. Trump ran on not entangling ourselves and a bunch of other people's stuff. So this smells sick of us being Israel's little boy. Why would we go bomb Yemen? How is that in our best interest? Now, understand you're going to mess with the traffic in ship lanes. You're messing with that, you're going to get a punch in the face and maybe your balls cut off. I get it. Okay, I understand and that's the caveat. We don't know all that's going on, but principally, you are attacking, in essence, another country. You didn't go to Congress to get the war approval. No. Don't bomb them. Now, if they're a terrorist threatening an imminent attack and you got to go do it without getting Congress, permission, then okay. But then while the bombs are in the air, you better be meeting with Congress, and you better get approval. And if you don't have approval, and they're sending a nuclear bomb back, we're screwed. But that's the process. And if you want to live by the Constitution, you need to die by it. And so this is in my opinion, a big knock on lack of integrity with being consistent with your pre-election vote mentality. I'm for peace. I want to stop wars. I don't like it.
That's fair. I don't think you're alone in that boat.
And so on Doge, I um, I I I'm gonna believe it when I see it. I don't really care
Because
anymore.
we've just said a whole bunch of words. That's what we've done so far.
I found $17 billion here. They're sending to make laces for trans people in Hikapaipachunuba, right? Again,
Yeah.
now, do I doubt that? Not a bit. I think it's true. Well, let's do something about it. Here's what I want to see: the Doge connection with the Trump agenda. Get rid of Pam Bondi or whatever her name is. What's her name? I think that's what her name is. Get rid of her or ship her up. She's got to produce. And if she can't produce, out. No
Yeah.
offense, you're out. If you can, well, I know you got to put cases together and you got a lot going on, but right now, you got to give her a year.
We're on a fucking time crunch, though.
But I better see some indictments, and I want people being treated that are true criminals like they treated Trump.
Yeah.
Let's try this, uh, and without violating law principles. And I'm not
No,
talking
there's
about.
some real criminals here. There's some real fucking charges. We don't have to bullshit this. Just fucking play by the. Just do it. But I mean, he blanket pardoned so many fucking people.
How about you and I, Chris? Let's go steal. And I'm not greedy. Let's go steal $1 billion from the government and see what happens to us.
Right. No, I'm with you.
Yeah. So I'm saying
He
go.
said, I'm not greedy, just $1 billion. I mean, the
So
numbers they deal with are fucking unfathomable numbers. It's like when we get the media says them so goddamn much, we're so desensitized to these fucking make believe fucking spreadsheet numbers. But it's a reason why all of us at my level are looking at each other going, why can't we get ahead? Because they're fucking teaching transgender fucking Muppets over in fucking Iran. That's why.
how many millions of dollars have we spent on bombing
Fuck.
on Yemen just in this short few days? And
A lot.
how would that impact your town? Instead of just taking half that money, put it in your town, the other half, and put it in my town. Let's make some improvements and some true business, entrepreneurial, long-term gain programs. Let's do that. Where, let's take a vote. We got,
Can we paint this concession stand? Can we do that?
yeah. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. No,
So, and then
maybe
and
we
the
can
way
flatten the field so the girls aren't fucking breaking ankles on a fly ball. Jesus Christ.
so but there's an idea. We could do a field leveler, right? Across
Yeah.
the country. But my point being is building and making things better. That's why the power sprayer, I love it. Just doing some sidewalks in front of businesses. I love it. Or a parking lot. It makes things better. We got more efficient air conditioning. We're going to improve it. We're going to improve it by what, 20% by cleaning off the coils? I don't know. We're building something. We're making it better. Bombing Yemen. Oh, yeah, it helps the military-industrial complex and build more bombs. And then what is it? what's the
Don't we
big?
have to go rebuild it now too? That'll
Yeah,
cost us.
what's that? Brown and Root.
Yeah.
You ever heard of them? They
No,
control the world, man. They're rebuilding countries after countries, and sometimes they've done it 3 or 4 times.
the Cheneys must own them. Or is
Halliburton.
that just Halliburton? Yeah. Oh,
So this is a cane habanero. I've never smoked a cane.
is it good?
It's really good. It is good. I like. I mean, I'm really kind of only heard that. I just haven't heard much about it, but I'm not. It hasn't been overly positive. But man, this is a really good leathery cigar. I like it. So we Doge. I would like to see follow up with indictments and arrest.
Yes, that's Pam. But and then my last one is Cash, and I think Dan Bongino did get sworn in today. I might have saw that
Yesterday, I think. Yeah,
yesterday. Okay, so what do you think about this pair? What do you think about Dan? I thought we've talked about Cash. You like Cash, don't you?
I like cash.
Yeah,
I like results.
I think he does too. I
Yeah,
know
I like.
Dan Bongino can. He talks about it a lot. I mean, I listen to his podcast a lot. Now I don't know what he's like in action, operating.
Well, I tell
He
you this.
seems like a squared away integrity guy.
I think so. I like. I remember. Listen. I remember. I listened to Dan, and when he did his first one, I can remember from the beginning, and then I stopped listening to him. Um, I like Dan. The 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 thing I like about Dan is probably something that no one would mention in the first 10 minutes. I said, "Hey, just throw me why you think I like Dan Bongino." And people will say, "Oh, his integrity, he's a tough guy. He's been Secret Service and da da da, pretty good track record, beat cancer, all these things." The thing that I like about Dan is kind of like Tucker Carlson from the standpoint: where did they start? What did they believe? And where are they today? And you want to look at people from that standpoint and see an upward trajectory. So Dan, I think he just continues to grow and grow in the right direction, and that's
Yeah,
what.
he uh he was really in on Rumble early with Chris.
Oh, cool, cool. Yeah, well, he had the incentive to do that with being a syndicate, kind of like a radio show, TV show, and then looking for possibilities in the censorship arena. It makes you
I
really.
mean, it was just really perfect when YouTube really started to fuck with him, and it was pretty bad.
Mhm.
And then he could just move over to Rumble, and he's really grown Rumble. I mean, he's heavily invested,
Yeah,
but
and
yeah,
he's also, but
but he's very upfront about it,
he came from kind of a neocon lover to wake up with reality.
bro. And did he ever? He
Yeah.
really. I mean, he goes hard at it. He
Hmm.
doesn't shy away from anything, and I don't think he's going to now. He, I just don't. I think that he's said it for so long on the radio that there's one way he can be in there.
Yeah, but I also think that uh, the school of hard knocks has woken him up, and is
Yeah,
that he was on the leaning right anyway, and but
COVID pushed
pushed.
people.
But you ask him about 9/11 10 years
Yeah.
ago, and now I think the shift is this: the government would never do that. And I'm not saying he said that. I'm just
But yeah, but no, but he was a guy. He was a government guy. I mean
yeah,
that you
they
know.
would never do that. And then now you ask him, is, is it even possible that it was anybody else? It's a shift. That's a
Yeah,
trend.
yeah.
And
And I think that he's grown, and he has.
yeah,
He's grown because he just says it. He's real. He might be
I
wrong, but he'll tell you when he's wrong. That's what's so good about it, right?
yeah,
That's what it takes. I'll
yeah.
even listen to people on the left as long as they're fucking honest. Anna Kasparian, I don't agree with her on a lot of stuff, but I listen to her point of view and I listen to her. But she also is really like upfront and truthful. So when the left is being idiots, she says it. Like, what the f are we doing?
Now who's that? Who's that again?
Anna Kasparian.
Have no idea. Don't know.
And there's some so like they're left leaning populist MAGAs. There's a lot of them that are like millennials. They're they're lifelong Democrats and but they're populist. They're just populist. So they're not the neocon. They're like a real Democrat. They're the so
I,
what how do you disagree with Trump in any fashion if you're being honest with yourself?
well,
I mean, bombing Syria, yes. And but I mean, if we're looking at Trump or Kamala, it's not if you're a real populist, come on. Trump did take all the stuff that the Democrats had in their toolbox. Trump yanked it out and put it in his pocket and just stole it. He just said, he's like, I'm not a pro-life guy. I'm a to the states guy. And he
yeah.
is a Democrat. That's the problem. What they're dealing with right now is they're facing a 1990s Democrat right now,
Was it?
with a little attitude and a New York twist. And he's a business guy and he's tough. He ain't gonna back down. He don't give a shit.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Huey Long of
You
it.
deal with the fucking union, the unions in New York your whole life. You think Putin means shit? You think fucking dickhead fucking the Senate guy, what's his name? The fucking thinks he's Jewish, Schumer. You think you Hakeem Jeffries, bro? You guys are up against something you don't want that. They don't want the smoke. They know they don't want the smoke. That's tough. Growing up in New York, building skyscrapers in New York is not for the weak heart or the weak mind.
Well, you look
You got to be
at
a fucking shark in there.
you know Trump um, in person honors the friendship and relationship with Schumer,
I'm
and
sure.
Schumer knows better. Schumer's a total hypocrite. That's the deal. That's the difference
Bro,
between
he is so slippery.
so slippery. So, but he's a but you know what makes you slippery?
Politics. Because
No,
wasn't he really smart? He was a really smart kid. Like,
yeah.
perfect score on the SAT or some shit, went to
Well,
Harvard,
I
went
wouldn't say
straight into politics and
I
never
wouldn't
looked
say
back.
I wouldn't say politics. I mean, there is. I get the inference, and but you could be a statesman and it doesn't make you slippery. It's like Thomas Massey. He's a
No, he's not. He's grip. Boy, that guy's like sandpaper. You ain't gonna fucking smooth him over.
The difference is when it's kind of the silent blackmail. When you're stealing money and have stolen money and you've lived off stolen money, then you automatically become slippery. Not because you stole the money, but now you have to be that way. Or you have to confess. And Schumer's not going to confess. Pelosi's not going to confess. And John McCain didn't confess. Mitch McConnell won't confess. All the China deals and all the crap that he won't confess. Uh, Lindsey Graham won't confess. That's why they're all slippery. Trump doesn't have anything to confess. Now, the libtards say, oh, he's a criminal, he's a criminal. Well, in what way? And what did he do? Well, he's a dictator. It's like,
He's a Nazi.
so, well, the our whole democracy is fallen because now he's not listening to the judge. And you can't do that. We have separation of powers, and he's got to listen to the judge. Well, but how is that separation of powers if he has to listen to the judge? It seems to me like the judge has more power over the presidency if he has to listen.
Some fucking weird ass judge in California is gonna dictate our whole fucking the will of the people. Go fuck yourself.
Well, more importantly is read the Constitution. Can't do that. In fact,
He
Trump,
can relieve an individual.
but he also can almost fire all of the judges down from the Supreme Court down, the federal judges or whatever. But these were all created by the executive branch. And so the judicial branch is separate, but it can't dictate to the president under what he does in the executive branch. No, you can't do unlawful things, but they don't have any right to dictate on what the general chooses to fight with in Yemen, or what tactic we do in wartime. This is commander in chief, right? And so, and then how is the judge going to enforce that? Is he going to pull out his military and say, Trump, you can't do that? Well, I don't think
Yeah,
so.
I was gonna ask you, like, how does this work?
It
You
doesn't.
just say go fuck yourself.
Well, if he doesn't, that's another strike against Trump.
Yeah,
This ball up, and he does. I mean, he is.
he
I think,
does.
and say, hey, look, sorry, you're wrong. I don't have to listen to you.
The Supreme Court's gonna have to go to work here in a minute.
The Supreme Court is worthless. The Supreme
Yeah.
Court, I mean, every major life sustaining element for our constitutional democratic republic that we live in, allegedly, comes down to one vote on a 5-4 swing in the Supreme Court, and it's that close. Now, these things, they can't be deciding. The reason why we're having this issue with hiring and firing and who gets to choose what and what levels of different departments in government is because Roberts is a sellout.
He
He's
is.
compromised, and therefore we wouldn't be dealing with this at all if in the first time of the ruling he just said, no, that's wrong. But he didn't do that, and so they kicked it. Now it's going to keep coming back, and now our whole democracy is at threat of a Barrett Roberts court.
It's just that's hard to swallow, Tim. But that's where we're at. So here we are.
One follow-up point you made
Yep.
that I want to say, I think it's critical that we take responsibility. And I'm talking about you and me and everybody that can hear us, right? We take responsibility. I'm sick of these Republicans and Democrats all throwing arrows. This is terrible. Let's just do it. This is bad. So we have to take responsibility for solutions and not be just throwing arrows, right? Because we can find fault with Trump. We can find fault
with everybody.
Yeah, but we can step alongside as we're doing that and stop or call it. I don't mind holding accountability, but then we also have to step right in. But I'm not going anywhere, and we got to figure this out. And if they're blocking our ship lanes, then we need to do something about it. But if we're just protecting Israel,
not a good look.
Israel, you go bomb Yemen and see how that goes.
Yes, knock it out, kid. All right, brother. You ready to end on that? It's 8:30.
Yeah. Anything you want to do, I'm good to call it quits if you'd like to.
We will be back here next Tuesday at 7:00.
Awesome.
All right.
Awesome. Take care, my brother.